Hello everybody, welcome to the final video in the tutorial of making a choice-driven game in Unity. In this episode, we're going to be finishing up the display manager to display our statements, and also finally coding all of these into our conversation. Let's get started. So far, this is what we have in our display manager so far, but we're going to have to add one more variable before we can start our coding. And we're going to put that variable right here, and that's just going to be public statement, just called current statement. And that's just going to have the current statement that is displayed on our UI. And with that, we can finally start doing more. Create some space down at the bottom, and we're going to create a public void called display next statement. No parameters and parentheses. And all this is going to do is going to edit our text and pictures with the info in our current statement. So we're going to do person text dot text equals current statement dot person. Next, what we're going to do is statement text dot text is equal to current statement dot statement. And the last one we're going to do is picture dot sprite is equal to current statement dot picture. If you're wondering what all this means, if we go to the editor and let it compile, you can see that in our canvas, under each text property, there is the text field, and on the picture, there is the source image, which we access by using .sprite. So that's what we're doing. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to have to change the amount of buttons that are displayed. So let's say there's only two choices. We only want to display 2 buttons. We're going to do that by using a for loop. The way the for loop is set up is for int x is equal to 0. This x can be anything you want. Then x is less than the how many choice buttons we have available, which is 4. And x++, which will add 1 to x at the end of whatever code that we run. And inside this for loop, we need an if statement. So we're going to go if x is less than current statement dot choices dot length. Remember, choice 1 is button 0. So if, let's put a spacer, if there are 3 choices, we only want buttons 0, 1, and 2 to be active, which will be these 3 right here. So, if it's less than the number of choices, we want to get choice button, get the x1 in the array. Since the array is buttons, we want to get the GameObject component, and we want to set it active to true. Then, at the end of the if statement, we will put an else, and say, same thing, choice button, x dot GameObject dot set active false. Now you may notice the brackets around the for loop and not around the if statement. That is because if you have an if statement and then 1 line of code, you don't need the brackets. But just to make things a bit clearer on ourselves, I'm going to add them in anyway. Now there's one more thing we're going to need to add to this for loop. And that is, if we set the button active to true, we want to change the text on the button to the text of our choice right here. And the way we do that is by saying we get the current choice button with choice button X, and on the button, this is our button right here, the way we edit the text is by getting the text object down here, which is a child. So, in our code, we have to say .transform, .get child 0, because it's the first one. And in the child, we want to get the text component, and we want to edit the text property. And we want to set the text equal to our current statement, dot choices, the current choice, which is choice X, dot text. And let's save that. And then the final thing we want to do is in the start function right here, which is called in the first frame, we want to do display next statement. We'll let it compile. Then what we want to do is go to our display manager and drag in the statement that we made last video. If we click on it, we can see all of our properties. If we want to, let's drag in the angry face for the picture, just so all of our fields are filled. These are going to remain empty for now, but we'll edit that later. If we save it and play, you can see that we only have two choices, and those are the yes and the no, which is exactly what we want. After that, we only have one more thing that we need to add, which is our end right here. We're going to open the statement script, and we're going to add one thing of data. We're going to say public bool end. And a boolean can either be true or false. Then what we're going to do is we're going to have to add another method to our display manager. So right after choice clicked, we're going to add a brand new public void named special condition. And we're going to check if current statement dot end. Then we want to debug.log you leave. And if you don't do that, then we want to call the display next statement method. And where we're going to put this is number one in the start function. We'll call special condition. And under choice clicked, we'll also call special condition. Now, one last thing that we need to do is add one more line of code to the choice clicked. So let's say you click on choice 1. We need that the next statement that's in that choice to become our current statement. So right before we call special condition, we're going to go current statement is equal to current statement dot choices id dot next statement. And that'll set the current statement to the next statement that we clicked on. And now the only thing that there's left to do is code in this that we made here. So as you can see, the first one is do you like bread? And there's either a yes or a no. So we're going to go back here, and I'm just going to create a statement and just call it Q1. Just say the person will be Breadman. And it's do you like bread? The question mark. It has two choices, yes and no. Then if we go back, we can see that if you click yes, it leads to him saying, finally, a man of good taste. So we'll come here. I'll just call this S1 because it's our first statement. This is still Breadman. And he'll say, finally, man of good taste. And there's only one choice here. And it is to leave. Let's make sure we add in a happy face for this one, and just the normal face for this one. And now that we're back in Q1, when you click yes, we want to send you to S1. The one last thing you need to do is go to the display manager and make sure that Q1 is our current statement. Now that we're playing it, you can see Breadman, do you like bread? If we click yes, he'll become happy and it'll say finally a man of good taste, and we can leave. The last thing we need to do is go to create statement and just call this end. And we don't need to fill any of this information in. All we need to do is click end, go to our statement, and under our leave choice, we just drag in end. And now if we play it, do you like bread? Yes. Finally a man of good taste. And in the bottom left corner right here, you can say it says you leave. And that's everything. I'll leave this up on the screen just in case you want to go through it and fill out every single scenario. Obviously, if you clicked no right now, you'd get an error because there is no current statement that you put in. But if you code this correctly, it'll all end to leave. I'll spend a couple minutes coding all of this in, and we can get the final product. And that's it. I have all of this now laid out in my game. Hopefully you can see how easy it was to add in new statements, add in new choices, and add in these expressions. Thank you for everyone for watching this tutorial series. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned something. If you liked it, please like and subscribe, and I'll keep making tutorials for you guys, and I guess I'll see you in the next video.